Do you know a simple 10-minute walk after your meals can work wonders for your weight and for your diabetes? It may in fact work better than your medicines. But the shocking part is that most of people who walk, either they are not walking correctly or they walk at the wrong time and they are getting zero benefit out of it. Hello, I am Dr. Rajat, and today in this video I'll tell you the science-based method of walking which will help with your weight loss, with your diabetes management, and will help in your digestion and will do a world of good. By the end of this video, I promise you will know the benefits of walking, how to walk, how to maximize your walk, at what pace to walk, how much to walk, for how long to walk, and what can be additional things which you can do to improve your walking and to get the desired benefits. By the end of this video, I'll give you a bonus tip also, what else you can do to improve the results of your walking. Hello, I'm Dr. Rajat and you have started watching our YouTube channel, The Fertility Gynecologist. In today's era, obesity is a new pandemic. Obesity is the new smoking. People find very difficult to lose weight. People find very difficult to do time to find exercise. And even if they find the time to do exercise, either they are going to gym or they are playing some sort of outdoor sport. The weight loss process is very difficult. People in this today's age, everybody wants quick results. Everybody wants quick weight loss, 5-10 kgs in a month. That does not happen so easily. And that is not sustainable. What we need to focus is to focus on a sustainable method of a weight loss which is healthy. And for that, you have to inculcate the lifestyle habit in your daily lifestyle. Maintaining a healthy lifestyle today is a challenge. And incorporating the small manageable things is the key. Word is manageable things. Yes, I can definitely lose my weight if I do 6 hours of gym, if I do 10 kilometers, 12 kilometers of walking or a marathon daily. But is that possible? Is that manageable? Can I do it along with my work? No, it is not possible. So we have to devise ways which are seemingly not very difficult, but only thing is we have to make a change at this thing. And that is why today I'll discuss why walking after your meals, whether it is breakfast, whether it is lunch or whether it is dinner, works wonders. When we say use the word walking, everybody says yes, we do walk. But you have to understand one thing, that for a human being to live, one needs approximately 1800 to 2200 calories per day to live. Just to, even if I am speaking, I am breathing, I am walking, my digestion, my heart, everything requires calories. And we require 2200 calories approximately to live. But most of us, unfortunately, nowadays in this era of mobile phones, in this era of screens, in this era of convenience stores, in this era of Zomato, Swiggy, everybody is primed to eat. And unfortunately, we do not do physical activity as much as we would like, or as much as it is desirable, like the ones we used to do about 40-50 years back. So we have to devise our lifestyle. We have to change our lifestyle in such a way that we don't feel like we are exercising, but yet we are doing. When I use the word walking, many people ask me, sir, which is the good time to walk, whether early morning one should walking or one should be walking after dinner. Now you have to understand two things very, very clear. Early morning, when you go to walk, your insulin levels are low, your blood sugar levels are low. So when you walk, muscles are basically, they use glucose as a fuel, and the moment the glucose is not there in your body, or it is the levels are low, body, because it is in a starvation, in a fasting mode overnight, it will use fatty acids for the fuel. And that fatty acids, once it starts burning, it will start a process. That burning of fatty acids starts a process which is biochemically called as glycogenesis, neoglucogenesis. That means the production of glucose from fats or from proteins or from ketones. That part occurs. So the burning of fat is more if you walk early in the morning. Apart from early in the walking, burning of the fat, early in the morning walking, it basically synchronizes our circadian rhythm. It resets our circadian rhythm. Most of the people who have got difficulty in sleeping, whether falling asleep or deep sleep, if they wake up early in the morning, they go out in the sunlight and their circadian rhythm resets. And walking early in the morning also gives a good boost to the metabolism. It gives rise to increases the happy hormones, dopamines and endorphins, and therefore it is very good for walking. Now you must be wondering, the topic is post meal walking, and why I am talking about the morning walk. Post meal walk is the most wonderful thing one can ever do. It not only helps in the weight loss, how it will affect the weight loss, I'll come to it in the later part of the video. it also helps in it is the best and the first medicine for all those people who are pre-diabetic, who are diabetic. It may decrease the dose of your diabetic medicines, and if you do it consistently, it may also, you can be off diabetic medicines after a few years. It also solves most of the gastrointestinal problems of acidity, bloating, reflux of acid, and if it is done correctly over a period of time, because of that acid and constipation problems, it may also decrease the incidence of colorectal and the gastrointestinal cancers over a period of time. Post meal walking also, if it is done in a relaxed manner, it acts as a good and a great stress buster. And the moment you are relaxed, it will help you decrease that habit of post meal snacking, which is unfortunately most common cause of weight gain and thereby diabetes. How does walking control the blood sugar? You must be wondering, what is the relation between walking and blood sugar? You must understand one thing: whenever we eat, whatever we eat, ultimately everything is converted into the blood sugar or the glucose. And if our pancreas are working well, pancreas secretes a hormone called as insulin, and that insulin, the main purpose of insulin is to take that blood glucose, the glucose from the blood into inside the cells for the purpose or for the functions of cell, for all the things which a cell is required to do. If insulin is not working well, or if there is more amount of glucose in the body, then the excess of glucose is converted into the fat, and most of that fat deposits around our belly and our visceral organs. So whatever we eat, the glucose increases, the peak of glucose increases to about 30 to 50 minutes, and after 30 to 50 minutes, the body starts making or secreting insulin, which the function of insulin is to decrease the blood glucose. Mind you that blood glucose does not decrease, it goes from blood to inside the cell for various millions and trillions of functions of the cell. And if there is excess blood glucose apart from what is required, insulin is a growth hormone, it is a lipogenic hormone. It converts the excess of glucose into the fat which is deposited in our fat, this thing. So if you walk within 30 minutes of your completion of meal, within 30 minutes of completion of meal, that means before the glucose hits the peak, if you start walking, our muscles, especially of the legs, they are the biggest muscles in the body, the thigh muscles, the hamstrings, the quadriceps, the adductors, the abductors, and the hip muscles, they are all used in walking, and muscles are the biggest glucose guzzlers in the body. So the moment the blood glucose starts rising, if you start walking, that blood glucose, instead of getting into the cell, would directly go to the muscle, because muscles need glucose for the energy. So the level of glucose in the blood would be less, and there would be less secretion of insulin. Whatever is required for the body may go into the cells, and the rest blood glucose, whatever is required, if there is not blood glucose enough in the blood, the body may activate the process of glucogenesis, neoglucogenesis. So it may start burning fats or proteins or ketone bodies for its energy. And if you do it continuously over a period of time, not only the blood sugar would be under control, but over a period of time, since there would be a calorie deficit, there would be a good and a happy incidence of a weight loss. You must be wondering how the decrease of blood sugar leads to the weight loss. For any weight loss, we need to be in a calorie deficit condition. The blood sugar control may not directly lead to the weight loss, but when we are walking immediately after meals, our insulin sensitivity increases. What this improved insulin sensitivity makes is, it makes a signal to the brain, and it helps us in a better appetite control. So the moment the appetite control is better, the moment we are in insulin sensitive zone, our automatic energy intake decreases, and that over a period of time contributes to the weight loss. Like I mentioned, walking after meals, it also decreases that unfortunate and a very bad habit which is very common nowadays, is post meal snacking. You have had your dinner, then you have dessert, or you have something to eat, and that is what is the main culprit of. So the moment you are walking, you are away from that habit. It also improves your digestion. For people like me, for people, almost every second, third person you meet nowadays is having some sort of a digestive problem. Either there is acidity, or there is a reflux, gastrointestinal reflux disorder, or there is a constipation, there are problems. The moment you are walking, the gastric emptying time decreases, there is a better digestion, there is a less reflux of acid, and GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disorder, is known to cause high incidence of cancer of stomach, cancer of esophagus later on in your life. So the moment there is less acidity problems, those cancers would also be avoided. Walking after meals also lead to a better incidence of a stress relief. Like I said, any amount of walking, if you do walk, the body releases the hormones called as endorphins and dynorphins and dopamine, which are happy hormones. It acts as a stress buster, and because you are relaxed, it will reduce the incidence of stress related eating also. See, we human beings have got there are two types of reactions to stress. Either we go into an anorexia mode, we don't eat anything, or we go into the bulimia mode, we eat more. We find food as a solace, as our companion. So that is what leads to the weight gain. Some people might be wondering, you are only telling about the good effects of walking after meals. There must be certain side effects. Yes, side effects may be there. If you are not used to walking after meals, and if you suddenly one day start walking immediately after meals, there may be some amount of gastric discomfort. There may be some amount of abdominal cramps, because the digestion process has not yet started, because the blood supply is diverted from the stomach to the muscle, so there may be an abdominal muscle cramping. Usually it does not happen, but if it happens in some cases, if it does happen in some cases, then in those cases you may try and start walking at least 10 minutes after meals, 15 minutes after meals, let the digestion process start and then walk. But usually it does not happen. How long one should walk is the question. In an ideal world, you should walk as much as you can, but minimum, I would say, at least 10 to 15 minutes after walk is the most desirable. If you walk 10 minutes after breakfast, 10 minutes after lunch, 10 minutes after dinner, that is okay. That will also help you attain that CDC guideline of 30 to 35 minutes per week of 30 to 35 minutes per day of walking. And rather than walking 35 minutes at a stretch, it is better to walk 10 minutes at different times, and to maximize that maximize the benefit of walking, it is better to walk after a meal. So whatever amount of calories you are consuming, directly those calories are going inside. Those calories are going definitely inside the walking, and those calories are not getting added to your stomach. Some people say, what should be the intensity? Should I walk very fast or should I walk very slow? Ideally, you should walk not very slow, not very fast. It should be done at a brisk pace, roughly at about 5 to 6 kilometers per hour. That brisk pace is something like, if I were to tell, you should be not able to talk. That is what the brisk pace is. If you are walking gently, then you can talk. But if you are walking at a brisk pace, because of your burning of your fats, you may be panting. That is the level at which you should walk, and that should be for 10 to 15 minutes. Some people say whether I should wait for about 10-15 minutes after completion of my meals or 30 minutes after completion of my meals. I would say the recent research is suggesting that because the glucose reaches its peak at about 30 to 60 minutes after your meals, the moment if the glucose peak has reached, then the advantages of walking may not be as much. So if you want to maximize the advantages of walking, especially for diabetes, especially for weight loss purpose, you need to walk as soon as you complete the meals. That is very, very important, because once you complete 30 to 40 minutes after your meals, the glucose peak reaches, then the insulin would start getting secreted, and insulin, as you all know, is an lipogenic hormone, growth hormone, obesity hormone. It will increase the weight. Our main aim is to decrease the secretion of insulin, and for that maximal effect to happen, we need to walk as soon as possible after your meal ends. In 2023, a Sports Journal Medicine said that the longer the interval between eating and exercising, the weaker the acute effect of walking on glucose levels is there. Whenever we eat, our blood sugar spikes, and that is quite normal. The more we eat, the more refined carbohydrate we eat, the more amount of food with high glycemic index we eat, the more is the blood sugar spike. The more the blood sugar spike is there, the more insulin is secreted. The more insulin is secreted, there is a sudden crash of the blood sugar levels, and that leads to a crash, and then we feel hungry after some time, and then again we eat. And that is the problem with increase in eating more, and it leads to the weight gain. So there are two things which need to be done. A, whenever we are eating, we try to eat the things which have got low glycemic index. I'll make another video on specifically glycemic index foods. So basically anything which has got refined carbohydrates like flour, like refined flour, maida, like sugar, like potato, these are things which have got high glycemic index. Those things should be very less. You should eat complex carbohydrate, which is specially, and fibers, which is specially found in green leafy vegetables, the salads, the pulses, the proteins. This will decrease the glycemic index of the food. And even the order of food is important. The first should be fiber, second should be protein, and third should be the carbohydrate. So what it will do, rather than peaking the glucose suddenly, it will have a slow peak of the glucose. And to maximize that thing, immediately after your eating, you start walking, so that there is no crash. There is no hard and fast rule how long you should walk. It can be a simple, brief, leisurely stroll also. Even micro walks of few seconds is also important. Even an activity as minimal as standing or just taking a glass of water is also good for the blood sugar. But the research has suggested that there should be minimum 2 minutes walk to have any starting benefits, accruing benefits for walking on blood sugar, and that is very, very important. Some people say if walking is good, why not I should jog after meals, or I should walk very rapidly or run after meals. I would not recommend that. I would not recommend that. Rather than a simple brisk walk is good. The problem is the moment we find that this thing is good for our health, we go to the extreme levels. We don't have to go to the extreme levels. What I tell to my patients, what I suggest to my patients, say if you are having breakfast at 9:30, 10, you plan some of your activity after that. You go out in sun. There will be multiple benefits of going out. You will have sunlight, natural sunlight, your vitamin D level would increase, your circadian rhythm would reset, and you plan, suppose you have to go to bank, you have to go to groceries, you have to go to buy milk, you have to go to buy fruits, anything, or you have to get your children, drop your children to some tuition class, or get your children from school. You plan those activities after your meals. Even after, if suppose it is not possible to walk, then you do some kind of basic exercise. The basic purpose is not just walking. The basic purpose is to move your muscles, because every muscle you move, it will use some kind of calories, and they say a single step, one step walking consumes about 0.2 to 0.3 calories. So ideally in a single meal, approximately one eats about 500 to 700 calories, and roughly they say you need about 10,000 steps to burn those 500 calories. I'm not saying that you walk 10,000 steps, but even if you walk 10 minutes, 12 minutes, or you can even do, it's not necessary that you go out only. You can walk at your home, you can do some kind of exercise. Even the calf raises are very, very good. Just simple action of doing the calf raise when you are sitting, or if you are lying down, you move your legs. The basic purpose is to move muscles immediately after your meal, so that, because like I said, the muscles consume maximum amount of glucose in the blood, and whatever glucose is there in the blood, before the onset of insulin secretion, that glucose has to go out of the blood to the muscles, so that the less amount of insulin is secreted, the less amount of excess of glucose is converted into the fat. And if you keep on continuing it over 4 to 6 weeks, you may get very good results. Power walking or an high intensity walking, I do not recommend. But yes, one tip: when you walk, you just simply don't walk. You basically walk whole, you involve almost all the muscles of your body, so that even your shoulder muscles, both the shoulder muscles, the upper girdle, the pelvic girdle, and all the legs and the abdominal muscles are working. There are about 208 muscles in the body. You cannot make all the 208 muscles of the body work at the same time. But the more the number of muscles are working, the better the results of walking would be. And like I said, post dinner, it should be a routine for everybody to go out, have fun, do some kind of physical leisure activity, stay away from artificial lights of mobiles, gadgets, televisions. This thing, if done routinely, it may help in your weight loss, it may help with management of diabetes, it may help in management of stress, it will help in having a good sleep also. Why I, as a gynecologist, am making this video? Because I find many of my patients, infertility and pregnant women, they are on the wrong side of their weight loss. They are increased for their, they have increased weight for their height. Their abdominal girth is increasing, PCOD, diabetes, even low ovarian reserve. Everything has got its basic in insulin. So ultimately your goal is to decrease your insulin in the body. Again, the best management of diabetes is not insulin. It is to decrease the insulin in the body. If insulin can only be decreased if the input of glucose or the output of glucose, input is less and output is more. To decrease the input, decrease the amount of glycemic index foods in your plate, and to increase the output, start walking after meals. So in conclusion, I would like to say, start walking as soon as possible after your meals. Don't wait. Do small things. Go get up a glass of water after walking. do some errands. Even if you are working, like I always say, people say, sir, we have a job, we don't get time to eat. I say, for eating, you may take 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 15 minutes. If you have got a half an hour lunch break, please utilize even that 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, whatever time you have to walk. We human beings unfortunately find reason not to do. But the moment we find the reason to do, and those should be the right reasons to do. If you want to talk, there are multiple benefits. You can talk on phone while walking, at least your leg is working. While I may not advise to talk on phone while walking, but at least it is better than not to walk. I would request you all to kindly like the video, subscribe the video, and if you want me to make video on any other topic, please comment in the video section. Thank you. Bye bye.